I don't think that anybody wants to completely eradicate the whole population of pigs altogether because they are part of the ecosystem now. There are a lot of people that enjoy hunting them on their deer lease that aren't going out and going out with a guide or an outfitter. They're just a guy and his son sitting in a deer blind somewhere and waiting for deer to walk out and a pig walks out. They enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I think that with the different aspects of hunting that we can offer with the trapping as well, I think that it provides an opportunity to deal with the pigs without having to introduce poison into the ecosystem, which will potentially damage other animals that we don't want to have any harm done to.
When hogs are in an area and they're destroying habitat for native flora and fauna, is it hurting other specific game species like deer?
Hogs will eat baby. I had one of my farmers, landowners, whatever you want to call them, call me this year, and he was pretty distraught because there was a group of a few larger hogs that were circling a newborn calf in the field. And that's out in the middle of the open in the middle of the day where a farmer's going to be able to see them. So I can only imagine the type of other offspring that these pigs are going to be eating and putting in as part of their diet. There's a lot of, I don't want to say rumor, but it's kind of a rumor around the state of Texas that the rattlesnakes in these areas have stopped rattling because these pigs will eat them. They use it as a location mechanism, and they find these rattlesnakes and eat them. Whether that's true or not, I can say that they definitely do not rattle in my area. You can step right in the middle of a rattlesnake and seldomly will ever you hear one of them rattle. So I can only assume due to that kind of stuff that they are affecting the other native wildlife in the area with the overpopulation that we have of them.
Yeah, the ecology of it is so complex. I can't even fathom who's doing research from what local universities to be able to try to figure out how wild hog populations are affecting other native, fauna.
It would be great to know. It would be one more thing that we could use in the fight against them. I mean, knowledge, I think, would help bring everybody from all different walks of life together. If there was more readily available knowledge from sources that folks trusted. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that walk around the sidewalks there in Austin with you that won't listen to the things that I say and think that it's an educated outlook on it. However, where they're at a university coming up and finding the same results and putting it into publication, I think that would open up a lot more eyes that are shielded to it otherwise.
The wild hogs that are running around Texas, I'm assuming genetically are related to wild hogs across the United States. Are these just domesticated pigs that got loose at some point historically, or like where does that work genetically? Do you know?
I'd be lying if I acted like I was an expert in that subject. I've been told that there were pigs that were released, years and years, century or decades ago, I should say, around coastal areas that people released them to hunt that have spread. There have been, numerous stories of pig farms that have released their pigs out to the wild. You've got some of the Russian boar, which I can say that in seeing one or two groups of pigs where we are in a night, you'll see that there's a lot of different genetics there. You'll have some of the pigs that have more of the Russian boar look to it with the big broad shoulders up front, the ridge back on it, long tusks, that type of stuff. And then you'll also see, a pig that looks like a hamp walking around that's got multiple colors and, fat and stocky and equal all the way through the body. Yeah. So there's a lot of different genetics that have gotten into these pigs, and with the way that they reproduce as often as they do, there's no telling anymore what's what.
Is the javelina? I didn't know anything. Again, Steve Ranella, I'm a complete noob here. Steven Ranella was talking about the javelinas in South Texas. Are the javelina a wild pig that's a little bit smaller? It looked like it was.
I believe I'm saying that properly. Yeah. Might be butchering that, but it is not. It's more of a rodent.
Okay.
It's a family where the pig is not. They're not genetically related.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't quite sure. It looked like it may be similar, but.
They look very similar, and a lot of people make that mistake. Javelinas are actually regulated by the state of Texas on your hunting license and the hunting regulations. You're only allowed to kill a certain amount in each area a year, where, again, the pigs are open season year-round.
Yeah, it's just so much to learn. Just the species in Texas, and then just for my clarification, I don't think about this because I work in the massage industry. Everybody thinks it's rainbows and unicorns. And every state I go to is a new set of laws, and they're interpreted and enforced differently. And I can go to Arkansas and can't give a massage, but I can teach a class, and it sometimes doesn't make sense. If I go to Louisiana, I have to have a separate hunting license. If I go to Arkansas, I have to have a separate hunting license.
Right.
So I got to get a new hunting license in all those states if I'm going to those states to hunt, correct?
Depending on the actual state regulations in those states. And
Yeah.
that's an unfortunate part of the outdoor industry now is a lot of these states charge a lot of money for people to come in from out of state and hunt. Texas is that way. What it would cost somebody to come in from an out of state and hunt a deer, it's kind of surprising to some people because it is not a cheap deal. So out of state licenses do have to be purchased if you're from out of state, other than hunting pigs. That's one thing I'll say is that the majority of our clients come from out of state, and they do not have to have a Texas hunting license if they only shoot pigs. I make that very clear to everybody right up front. If they see a coyote or anything else, we're not even looking at it.
Yeah.
Bring that hunter's education card, though, that from their state that they reside in, bring it to Texas in case they're asked to provide that by a game warden.